Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Welcome to another episode of Action Video Game Talk. I'm your host, Scott Action Jackson. Thanks for joining me today, or tonight, or whenever you're watching or listening to this episode. Once again, there's a list of news articles, so let's hop right into them. Creative Assembly discusses an Alien Isolation sequel daily, according to the game's lead designer, Greg Napper. In an interview with AVP Galaxy, Napper spoke about Isolation's story, difficulty levels, and the possibility of a sequel. Their conversation delves into details about the ending of Alien Isolation, so spoilers for those who haven't played it. The plot for a sequel is a daily topic at the studio sometimes. People have their own ideas for where it should go. Our writers have some solid concepts, and yes, we do have a great opportunity to continue her story. I personally think that Amanda did not get infected in the hive, as when she wakes, the closest egg remains closed. AVP Galaxy also asked if the sequel would mirror Alien Isolation's style of play, or if it would lean towards more action. Napper said he'd prefer to move on the formula that already exists. I think the action-oriented Aliens style game is very different from what Isolation is. If we made a sequel, I would like to stick to the same terrifying single alien approach, but do more with environment and interactivity within it. A recent free update to Alien Isolation added 2 new difficulty modes, Nightmare and No Voice. Nightmare mode was described as the ultimate alien experience, whereas No Voice mode is recommended for players who wanted more breathing space. Now, if what they say is 100% true, they could go and start working on an actual sequel for Alien Isolation. I mean, there's some people out there who've played the game and wouldn't mind a sequel. However, they say that they're not going to really improve on the formula that much, which to me would be a disappointment. The first time I've seen the gameplay footage fully being played, it took about 2 hours, about 2 to 3 hours, to finally get to one of these aliens. Why? I don't know, they're the ones who programmed this crap. To me, that's something I would hope that they would fix when they would try a sequel, but it would be up to them how they would do a sequel. Dying Light developer Techland has launched a new campaign to reward all current and future pre-orders with access to rare in-game weaponry. As a thank you to those who have shown support and trust in pre-ordering the upcoming survival horror game, special weapon dockets will be credited to early adapter accounts. The sooner you pre-order, the more weapons you'll secure. There'll be one available every week from now right up until Dying Light launches on the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on January 27th for America and January 28th for Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and January 28th for Europe. To participate and for more information, visit dockets.dyinglightgame.com. So this is just extra weapons that you can get for pre-ordering and staying supportive and trusting that the game is coming out. So for every week that passes, from now until the actual game release, you're going to get more weapons. So this could be additional guns, rifles, rocket launchers, whatever. And the game is supposed to be coming out on January 27th in America, January 28th for the Asian, Australia, and New Zealand area, and the January 28th for Europe. And it says here to get more information, visit dockets.dyinglightgame.com, which that might be your best bet, is to go right there and figure out what to do for it. A series of leaked emails reveals that Sony Entertainment has been pursuing a Mario Bros. Animated film. BuzzFeed has a full breakdown of the information contained in the emails, which were leaked after Sony suffered a mass security breach late last month. According to a report, movie producer Avi Arad negotiated a deal with Nintendo to make a Mario Bros. Animated film and promptly began talks with Sony studio chief Amy Pascal via email, referring to the deal as the Motherlode. president of production for Sony Pictures Animation was also brought into the loop, telling Arad, "Let's build Mario an empire." In another email, President tells Pascal, "I can think of 3 to 4 movies right out of the gate on this. So huge." BuzzFeed was quick to stress the volatility of the film industry and that an eventual film is far from guaranteed. An update to the story states that Arad has called the negotiations with Nintendo just the beginning, indicating that Sony's involvement in the potential project has not been finalized. Yes, I probably got so many of these names butchered or whatever, especially A.V. Arad, and sorry if I got that name wrong, but I tried to pronounce it the way I could. I know that he's mostly the Marvel guy, or a guy involved with Marvel. Well, Marvel by way of Sony, whatever. Biggest point here is Sony possibly doing a Mario animated film. At a gamer point of view, that is really effed up. Now, if you look back at the previous Mario movie, this has to be a whole lot better of an idea. Because the last Mario Brothers movie was more or less loosely based off the Super Mario Brothers game. With this, they can actually do more closer to the actual source of the video games because it's going to be animated. They can go cartoony. So yes, you can have it in the actual Mushroom Kingdom, where it's all nice looking and all those bright colors. With this was part of the leaked emails from the latest breach that Sony had. Well, hack breach if you want to call it that. Yeah, here it is. Massive security breach late last month. This was part of the stuff that was found in that. To me, I think they can do Mario Brothers justice by doing it as an animated film over a live action one. I mean, there's a lot more stuff you can get away with in cartoons than live action. I mean, especially an Italian plumber jumping on top of a turtle. One other little thing to note here is that when this guy was talking about the negotiations, he said it was just the beginning. So nothing has been finalized. So as far as we know, this might not be officially happening yet. Knowing Nintendo and Sony, they might want to try and do like some big old press junkie and major announcement through like some kind of big event to announce it. Or they could be sneaky and just send it via the Twitter, Facebook, whatever. The future of Warner Brothers' film based on the popular blocky open-world sandbox is now in peril, as Night at the Museum director Sean Levy has abandoned the project. Levy discussed his decision to leave the project with Wall Street Journal, saying that he had pitched Mojang on a Goonies-style adventure movie, but that the developer wasn't sold on his vision. It was not a comedy. It had a bit of Goonies flair. It was an adventure movie, and I thought it could have been a lot of fun and filled with a lot of qualities that people love about the game. Levy was chosen as the director of the movie in October by Warner Brothers, but says that he will now instead focus on 4 other projects that he currently has in the works. However, Levy doesn't sound upset with Mojang for passing on his idea. But it's not my game. They know what they're doing. The truth is, there's a long history of trying to make great movies out of games, and they're rarely done well. Mojang is still figuring out what they want. We gave it a shot, and it wasn't the right fits, so these things happen. I can honestly say this does not look good for this. Warner Brothers losing the director for the Minecraft movie probably isn't good. And I like what I'm reading here as far as what he tried to pitch to Warner Brothers. He tried to pitch a Goonies-style adventure movie, which a lot of people could see that with Minecraft. But with Warner Brothers shooting that down, they gotta get a lot of hate from not only Minecraft fans, but fans who liked the Goonies movies. But then again, there have been talks about another Goonies movie coming out, so they might not want to try and copy from that. But yeah, like he said here in this quote, it's like, there's a long history of trying to make great movies out of games, and they're rarely done well. Yeah, that's the key word, rarely. I mean, look at how many video game movies that have been done right now, and only one that I can think of has actually gone on to an actual franchise, and that's Resident Evil. And even the first Resident Evil movie was barely matching up with the original game. Of course, I think it's next year, our first taste of reintroducing video games into the movie theaters with, I think, World of Warcraft. I think that one's going to be first, and then later on it'll probably be the Assassin's Creed. Unless, of course, somebody makes some direct-to-video movies based off video games. Sega is looking to broaden its entertainment reach and has hired former Break Media executive Ivan Cholofin to help bring a selection of its hottest properties to the golden or silver screens. Does this mean we'll see a Sonic the Hedgehog film soon? Probably not, but we might see a Streets of Rage or Shinobi show. Cholofin was director of entertainment development at Break Media, where he produced TV and digital content, including the thriller Higher Power. Now he'll be head of development and production at Stories International, a joint venture between Sega and the advertising agency Hakuhuru DY Group. According to Variety, he will have access to properties like Altered Beast, Streets of Rage, Shinobi, Rise of Nightmares, Virtual Fighter, Golden Axe, and Crazy Taxi. Stories International is currently planning to create English language, live action, and animated spin-offs of a number of these properties. So now we got Sega wanting to dip into the big screen and TV market. And yes, this was another case where I effed up a name, but in this case it was just a last name. The franchises that they talked about to be developed into TV or film series, Sonic the Hedgehog was not one of them. It was Altered Beast, Streets of Rage, Shinobi, Rise of Nightmares, Virtual Fighter, Golden Age, and Crazy Taxi. I think I could see a few of these as a TV series, especially Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi would probably work better as a TV series anyway. Golden Axe? Golden Axe I could see maybe as a movie franchise series. Virtual Fighter, it could probably go either way. Let's see. Rise of Nightmares. That's going to be tricky. I mean, that's a more recent Sega game, isn't it? I think it was one that was only for Kinect, though. I think that they could probably work as like a horror type movie. Shinobi, they could try and do a TV series and maybe a few movies. Streets of Rage. I remember playing Streets of Rage and it was fun. It was something like Streets of Rage. You could see it as a TV series or a movie. But considering how many video games there were, the Streets of Rage, it might be better as a TV series. Altered Beasts? Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. I'm wondering why Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't even listed on this. I mean, I know that there are other TV studios and companies that have done Sonic the Hedgehog in TV series. So I don't know if the biggest question would be who would have the rights to do it as a film. As far as this week's major new releases, we have Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes for PC, which is probably going to be a download. Guilty Gear Xrd Sign for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. I thought that came out last week. Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots for PlayStation 3 as a straight download. And Monopoly Plus for the Xbox 360. Well, that's it for this episode of Action Video Game Talk. Once again, thanks for joining me today, or tonight, or whenever you're watching or listening to this episode. Later on, I'll have the separate clips up if you want to check those out, which most people still seem to do, more than the full episode itself for some reason. Down below, I'll have the Facebook page if you want to go check that out too. So, until next time, bye!